welcome back to my channel. So it is officially summer, which means that I'm done with classes. Thank God. And we'll be uploading a little more frequently, I hope. You know what I mean? As I'm sure you've seen from the title, today we're going to be talking about some of my favorite Middle Eastern perfumes. I think my favorite thing about Middle Eastern fragrances is the fact that they're so incredibly affordable, and they're also just really easily accessible. Like, they're very widely sold on Amazon. They're just a really great starting place for if you're collecting fragrances, and also just to get some really unique and expensive smelling fragrances in your collection. Before we get started with today's list, definitely make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and if you're coming back, thank you as always so much for being here and supporting the channel. But yeah, let's just get straight into it. So I'm looking at it now, and literally more than 50% of the fragrances on this list are from Lattafa. So honestly, this could very well be a Lattafa video, which if you are not familiar, I feel like Lattafa is one of the most popular Middle Eastern fragrance brands. They make such great dupes for some really high-end perfumes. And they're all really accessible. They have very beautiful bottles. I really love the presentation of Lattafa fragrances. Okay, so first fragrance that I'm going to be talking about is Teriyaki by Lattafa. I was actually surprised to learn that a lot of people do not like how this smells, and they think it kind of stinks, which is quite interesting to me because I feel like I can definitely see why some people might not like it, but I don't find that the perfume stinks. So I guess some quick background on this fragrance. It was created by Quentin Bish, which if you're not familiar, he has made a ton of other perfumes, some very famous ones like La Belle by Jean Paul Gaultier. There's like an entire freaking like telephone book of like fragrances that he's made because he is the nose behind so many successful perfumes. And so I feel like this fragrance was made kind of to dupe La Belle, but it also has some other aspects that makes it unique. So it smells a bit, I would say, darker, and it has a pretty prominent leather note that makes it smell ever so slightly animalic, but this isn't the kind of animalic that straight up smells fecal. It's a very kind of suede, like very cool, powdery kind of leather smell. And I think that it really gives it a complexity. It opens up with this like rich, juicy pear, kind of the same pear, like the syrup pear that you would find in something like Jean Paul Gaultier's La Belle. There's also a very prominent rhubarb note, and so I guess rhubarb can also be a pretty polarizing smell. This definitely isn't a fragrance that I would like reach for all the time, but I think it wears quite nicely. It also has a honey note, and so as it dries down, it becomes sweeter and sweeter, and ultimately in the very dry down, to me, I'm getting like a soft, powdery, dark vanilla. It's quite yummy. This fragrance is thick and sweet. It's quite seductive because it has these like sweet, darker, vanillic, fruity kind of notes, but at the same time, it has this like very subtle leathery smell in the background that makes it feel kind of intimate. Yeah, this is a very complex smelling fragrance in my opinion. It's also extremely affordable. There is a Teriyaki Intense, which has already been released, but I haven't picked it up because I personally, looking at the notes, I wasn't extremely intrigued, but I do think that this is a great fragrance. Is it like a super safe blind buy? I don't know. Honestly, I would say yes, just because I think that the bottle is so adorable and it's just such good value for your money. But at the same time, if you really are going to be put off by a dark, almost slightly bitter, leathery smell that accompanies like a dark rhubarb and pear and honey kind of fragrance, then maybe I would stray away. But other than that, this is a great Middle Eastern fragrance that I think Lattafa really nailed it with. Next fragrance that I wanted to mention is Lattafa's Eclair, and this is the very famous dupe for Bianco Latte, which is a very expensive perfume. I actually haven't even smelled the original, and I feel like I really don't have to because this smells exactly the way that it is described and also how the original inspiration is described to smell like. This is very much a textbook gourmand. It is so rich, sweet, and thick. It is literally like full on like foodie kind of smell. It smells like sweet vanilla, whipped cream, caramel, honey, buttercream, condensed milk. It's just a thick, syrupy, sweet, rich vanilla. It's super, super edible smelling. And I feel like anyone who just loves the smell of like straight up vanilla is really gonna like this perfume and this kind of scent DNA in general. So if you don't already have this in your collection and you are a vanilla sweet fragrance lover, I honestly could not recommend this enough. It is so affordable. When it came out, it was like around the $40–45 range, which is how much I got it for, but nowadays you can get it for like as low as $20, and it is a very large bottle, so it will last you a while. This is also a great performing fragrance, and in general, this is definitely like a perfume that will smell get you compliments or at least get you noticed. Such a great performer for how food-like it smells. The one thing I will note about this fragrance is that apparently it smells very different to different noses, which surprises me because to my nose personally, literally all I smell is this like straight up gourmand vanilla. But once I was wearing it around my dad and he told me I smelled like cigars, but I don't even know like what a cigar smells like, so I feel like anytime I wear any sort of vanilla perfume, my dad is like, oh my god, you smell like cigars. So he's not like a trustworthy source. To most noses and to myself, this is a very sweet, addicting, delectable kind of fragrance. Next up, we have a pretty new perfume to my collection. This is also another one from Lattafa, but this is the, oh god, Anna Abied Coral perfume from Lattafa. I got this perfume because I saw a lot of great reviews on it, and also I was reading the notes and some of the main accords, and it just sounded like the perfect perfume for summer. And spoiler alert, it is. This is in my opinion, this is like as good as it gets for like a purely fruity fragrance. Like this is just like a sweet fruity fragrance, and that is pretty much what this perfume is. The most prominent note that you can really smell throughout the wear of this perfume is watermelon. It's a very sweet, ripe, juicy watermelon. And let me make it clear that I actually really do not like watermelon. I don't like it as a fruit, I don't like it as a flavor, and I don't like it as a smell. And so for this perfume to really actually smell great to me is a big surprise. Like I read that it had watermelon and I still was interested in getting it just because it's not like a super artificial kind of watermelon note. Like there's something about this fragrance that smells fresh. It has like a watery aspect to it, and I think that's what makes it so appropriate for summer, is that it has a very fresh fruit kind of feel. It's very ozonic and uplifting and airy, really juicy smelling. I feel like it just smells like really tropical, but not in a suntan lotion-y way at all. Like it's very fruity, watery, juicy, and just a delicious fruity fragrance. This isn't like typically the kind of perfume that I go for, just because I don't really love just purely fruit fragrances, but this one is really fantastic. I think that it wears so beautifully, it lasts well, performs well, and it's gonna be a really great fragrance for the summer. I'm very, very impressed with this fragrance. And the last Lattafa fragrance that I wanted to mention, Yara Candy is actually not my favorite perfume, but I did want to still mention it in this video because one, it is my favorite out of the Yara line, and in general, I feel like this is a very mass appealing fragrance that I think a lot of people would enjoy, so I did want to mention it. If you watched my previous affordable fragrances video, you'll know that this is a super sweet, fruity, woody, very reminiscent of a particular Bath & Body Works scent kind of perfume, but it smells very nice. Like it just smells like a strawberry gummy. It's not purely straight sugar, like it does have these kind of floral and woody undertones to it. It comes off very fresh, it's quite juicy and clean smelling, but overall it's just like a very tangy kind of sweet candy smell. And so I think if you like the smell of like a strawberry gummy, strawberry ring, anything like that, this is definitely something that you would enjoy. It's not full on candy sweetness. Like again, there are some facets of the fragrance that make it smell a bit perfumey, but overall I think it's just such great value. I personally think that this is the best out of the Yara fragrances, and those are some really, really well-loved perfumes. So I would definitely recommend checking these out if the notes are something that appeal to you. Moving on, we're gonna move through this one real fast, but this is a very old fragrance in my collection. It's Al Rahab's Choco Musk. So talked about and such a well-loved fragrance. This, I'm like right now when I'm smelling it, smells very similar to Eclair. I would say it's a lot more powdery. It's less of a like thick buttercream kind of smell and more of just like a really powdery vanilla chocolate. It smells like a hot cocoa mix in the best way possible. Yeah, this is such a great fragrance. It lasts such a long time and is actually one of the cheapest eau de parfums I have literally ever seen. You can probably get it for like $10 or less. It's actually insane. Like check Amazon, TikTok shop, like it's everywhere. It's talked about so much, and I think for really good reason because it is an incredible fragrance. There are two more fragrances that I wanted to mention, both of which are from Paris Corner. And so the first one is Care's Confection, but this is a dupe for Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar by Kayali, which is one of my all-time favorite fragrances if you've watched my last video. And this is like 96% similar, like such a good spot on dupe for a very small fraction of the price. This to me smells like sweet candied pear, bubblegum, a sugary vanilla, not so much like a cupcakey vanilla, but just like kind of a deep syrupy vanilla. It's a little bit woody, a little bit fruity, but it just smells so candy-like, and I really, really like this perfume. Being a Middle Eastern fragrance, it's also super affordable, so I would definitely recommend checking this one out if you haven't already. And last but not least, this is actually the fragrance that I'm wearing today, but this is Paris Corner's Lactea Divina. And I guess I have like a little anecdote to share about this fragrance because a person has actually followed me down the dairy aisle of Whole Foods to ask me what fragrance I was wearing when I had Lactea Divina on. And I didn't even spray very much of it at all, really. I would say maybe 4 sprays. She was just like, oh my God, I smelled you all the way back there and I just had to ask you what you were wearing because you smell so good. She had me like spell out the fragrance so that she could like write it down for later, which I think is testament to how good this perfume is. That kind of like sealed the deal for me, and I was like, yeah, like this is a great fragrance. It does definitely kind of smell like Old Navy flip-flops, which is like the weirdest thing ever, but somehow it still smells nice. It smells pleasant. It is a dupe for Blanche Bette, which is a super, super expensive niche perfume, and so I can't tell you how close in similarity they really smell. But what I will say is that I've really never smelled anything like this before. It's a very sweet, milky, coconutty fragrance. It's not super feminine. This is a very like unisex fragrance to me, but above all, this is a really, really powdery fragrance. It's sweet, it's very lactonic, as the name might suggest, but when people hear that something's milky or lactonic, it might be off-putting, but this is not at all a spoiled milk kind of smell. It's not sour, it's not rancid, it's a very like controlled and delicate kind of silky, coconutty, milky smell. Really, really unique scent. Definitely has great performance. So I actually sprayed this morning at probably around 9:30 a.m. and at the time that I'm filming this, it's like, what time is it? It's 5 p.m. So you do the math. It was on for over 7 hours and I can still smell it on my wrist and I can tell that it is this fragrance. Very unique DNA. Clearly gets a lot of compliments as well because I've literally, in my entire perfume career, I don't think I've ever been like followed in the grocery store to be asked what fragrance I'm wearing. Like that was really a first for me. If you like a soft, milky coconut kind of perfume, I would definitely recommend this one. So that about wraps up today's video. There are so many like really great Middle Eastern fragrances out there, and I honestly don't have the biggest collection of them, so there are definitely a ton more to check out, but these are just some that I have smelled, some that I own and really, really enjoy. That about wraps up today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Definitely let me know what your favorite Middle Eastern fragrance is in the comments. But yeah, I hope you're all well. I definitely am gonna want to upload more this summer. But yeah, I will see you very soon.